Hi everybody, I'm Mataure. Welcome back to my channel. This is
Mandla, aka Chunks. How you guys doing?
Happy New Year!
Happy New Year,
Welcome back. We are in 2021 finally. Yeah, so 2020 was something, but anyway, here we are. We thank God. We're at the beginning of a new year. It's very exciting. So we've got something exciting planned for you guys today. Today we're going to be talking about our marriage AGM.
Annual general meeting.
Exactly. We have one of these every single year. It's one of the things that we are so consistent about in our marriage. And I know it sounds a little bit intense. So why on earth are people having an AGM about marriage? It's because marriage is intense. Marriage is serious. And if you're going to put that much effort into your business, why can't you put the same amount of effort into your marriage?
100%.
Good marriages don't just happen. They don't just wake up and boom, you have a good marriage. No, you have to put the work in. So that's what we're discussing today. So get a pen and paper, get something to drink, get comfortable, grab your boo, and let's talk marriage.
Let's do this. Okay, so the format of our AGM is similar to what you'd get in a average business meeting. So we start off with a review of the previous year, and then we go on to each and every topic that we want to look at for the upcoming year. So for example, we would start off in this case with the review of 2020. So what did we initially set out to achieve in 2020, and how many of those things were we able to actually achieve? And where do we feel that we could have done things better, or made certain changes to what we had actually set out to achieve?
Yeah, I mean, one of the things we do is we take it very seriously. Like our AGMs actually have an agenda, so we send out an agenda like a couple of hours or a day before. We set up a time, a location. It's a proper business meeting, something that we take very seriously. Because I don't know why people assume marriages must just be on autopilot and they just sort of happen. But I mean, if you're willing to put that kind of effort into your business, why on earth wouldn't you put that kind of effort into your marriage? So it's something we take really seriously. Above AGMs that we do, we also do monthly reviews where we sort of just look back at the previous month, where we're lacking, what do we need to touch up, and those kind of things. So we're going to walk you guys through the different topics that we discuss, and hopefully you guys will learn something from us today. Number one, finances and budgeting.
I think you guys will know from our previous video about money and everything that that's why we started with it. It's
a big one. I'll link it up here if you haven't seen it yet. But finances are definitely a big one. So the first thing we do is we look at the 2020 plan that we were supposed to use for our finances. See where did we fail, where did we manage, how did everything go, and then put together a plan for 2021. So actually what we did previously in the past was, sometimes we can split finances into two meetings because finances can be a little bit tricky. We do one meeting where it's just principles. For example, we want to save 10% of our income or yada yada, that kind of thing. And then the second one is where it's like facts and figures. Like, okay, our combined income is X amount of dollars. We're going to spend X amount on food and yada 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 yada. So sometimes it tends to take a very long time if you're going to combine them both. But yeah, that's another way for you to do it. For this year, we only did one. We only did the principals meeting because sometimes the biggest challenge we're having in Zim right now is the currency. It's just absolutely ridiculous. Inflation is insane. So whatever you're budgeting for this month, by next month is peanuts. So, our strategy is survival. We're going to take it month by month and see how things go.
Yeah. Okay, so what we did this year was take our combined salary or whatever money is coming into the house and split it up into 5 different areas or 5 different categories of where we want to put that money. So the first one is tithing, so that's 10%. And then investment is also another 10%. Giving is 10%. So giving is just, how we, share money or give money.
Yeah, or like a good deed. For example, if you have someone who's in need that you want to bless or whatever.
Yeah, so you actually basically put that 10% aside. So when anyone needs help, you take money from that kitty. Then the other one is savings, which is another 10%. And then the large chunk of the money is 60%, which is your expenses. Just your monthly upkeep and that kind of thing. So that's what we sort of set out to try and achieve for this year, or at least this month. We'll take it month by month. I think that's what we need to do because we don't know how things are going to be right now in lockdown. So yeah, it might be challenging, but at least it's a guideline for us to work from and see how far we get.
Yeah.
So number 2 is relationship and marriage. So this part of the AGM, we specifically focus on the two of us and how our relationship is going, how our marriage is going, how we're relating to each other as a couple, what we feel we could be doing better, where we have challenges, what are we doing right, what are we doing wrong. We talk about our intimacy, our sex, our communication, and anything else that has to do with our marriage and what we want to achieve in the year ahead, how we want to look after each other better, how we want to treat each other. If there's things that we didn't do well enough, we discuss that and obviously jot down all those points and see how we can work through those issues.
Yeah, so this is more like the more marriage stuff. I've actually learned that a lot of marriage is administration, but this is, I suppose, the romance portion. Ironically, a very small portion of the actual meeting. I think romance is a little bit easier because that tends to come more naturally. But anyway, that's when we discuss all those things like where we're lacking and where we could spice things up. Those are the things that inject life into your marriage. Number 3, parenting. So this is a new one. Did we have this on last year?
I think we did. Because Mali's now...
He's now 15 months.
So we started doing our AGMs at the end of 2018 after we got married.
Yeah.
So 2019 wouldn't have had anything to do with the baby.
Yeah.
2020, because you were...
This is 2020.
So with parenting, we look at issues around our kid's diet and his health, his well-being, and just ultimately, are we being good parents? You get advice from all over, and you always want to make sure that you're trying to do the right thing. At the end of the day, you are only a parent once. It's a first-time experience for anybody. So people can try and tell you that you should do this or do that, but at the end of the day, your relationship or your interaction with your child will be like none other. No one can say, oh yes, I did this, so you must know. Your relationship, the way you interact with your child will be unique. So we look at all those aspects and we discuss all of those things and see where we can do better and where we can make improvements. So number 4 is health, fitness, and spirituality or religion. What we did in previous years was split the two. So we had health and fitness separate to our spirituality and religion. But I think this year we thought that let's merge the two because they are very interlinked. Your health, your body, your mind, your spirit, your heart, everything put together. So we're looking at how we can improve ourselves in 2021. What do we want to do differently in terms of looking after our health, eating better, exercising more, but also taking time to pray, read our Bible more, read our Bibles more, and also how we want that to then pass on to our child. So, the parenting one was the topic just before, but then this then ties that all in terms of the health aspect and in terms of just looking after our well-being. So, one of the things we looked at doing for this coming year is to, wake up a bit earlier at 5 a.m. and sort of get into a time or quiet time, Bible study, and then do a bit of exercise and get that all done before 7 a.m. So as the baby wakes up between 5:30 and 6, and then we try and either do exercise with him or before he gets up, but as long as we've done a bit of exercise and we've spent time reading the Bible and praying, at least it sets the tone for our day. So that's one of the aspects that we thought we'd incorporate into health, fitness, spirituality, and religion.
Yeah, it's been pretty great actually. So the Bible study that we do in the morning is individual Bible study. So he's doing his, I'm doing mine. Then, once that's done and Mali wakes up and everything, we've been taking walks as well as a family, because one of our things is for us to exercise. The rule is we have to get outside and move our bodies, whether that's stretching, whatever. So we've been taking walks as well in the morning, like at 6 a.m. as a family, which has been really nice as well, I think, for him, because he also loves being outside. And then while we're walking, we're then just discussing things that we read during our quiet time and all that. So it's really been great.
It's been good. It's been good. And I think the diet aspect is so important. I mean, you know, given everything that's going on right now with COVID and, you know, just this emphasis on people looking after themselves and their bodies and all that. You know, we're fortunate to be out here in the mountains. We've got a lot of fresh air and so on, but we're also actively trying to make sure that we eat right and we, you know, get enough rest and all those kind of things. So it's trying to start the year on a positive note, and you know that I guess will set the tone for the months ahead.
Number 5, family and friends. So this is something that I also think is something that needs to be planned for, because I mean, you don't want to have those situations where it's like, oh, you spend more time with your family than you spend with mine, and yada yada yada. Family and friends is something that we plan for. So usually when we have our AGMs, it usually involves travel. Like, okay, we're gonna have this family function at this time of the year, and yada yada yada. We try to plan that out, but of course now with COVID things are different. It's a bit more challenging to do that, but we have decided to do things like video call our family members more often. Just check on people, check on our friends, make sure everybody's okay. People are going through a really difficult time at the moment, not just with COVID, but also just economically in the country. Things just aren't okay. So people are going through a lot. So I think that also just ties into check in with people's mental health as well, just to make sure that everybody's doing okay and just touching base that way, since we can't do it physically like we used to.
It's good to keep in comms with people as often as possible.
Yeah.
You never know what's going on in someone's life until you reach out and just see how they're doing. I think we're going through so many changes and so many different things, not only in Zimbabwe but around the world. So now that we have access to various, you know, methods of communication, let's use the technology that's you know at our disposal. So yeah, just keeping in touch with friends, family, and making sure that we know what's going on in their lives. I think it's such an important thing, and making sure we plan for that, because we can also obviously get caught up in our own family issues and trying to make money and working and all of that, and not consider what's happening in other people's lives. And yeah, it's very important that we plan for that. So number 6, this is travel. It's another one it's a new one that we added on for this year. And I think our AGMs tend to be very dynamic. There are certain topics or areas that we focus on every year, but I think as the years have gone by, we try and add things and merge things and so on, but there are key themes that sort of run through each and every year. Travel is one that we added for this year, and I think it's quite an exciting one because it's something that we've, you know, sort of discussed and said, you know, we want to try and travel as much as possible.
Even locally,
yeah. It is a bit difficult now, again with lockdowns and COVID and whatever, but wherever we can, we want to try and make it a point to get out of here, and whether it's going with friends and family or just the two of us or with the baby, whatever, but sort of trying to schedule or do a draft itinerary for the whole year and saying this month we want to go here, we want to try and save up for this and that, and that then ties in with the financial planning that we would have discussed earlier on, to see how much then do we need to allocate or put aside for that particular trip.
It's quite exciting because I mean, let's be honest, you can't just wake up and decide, okay, next month we're traveling to such a place. It's really, really challenging. So one of my personal goals is I want to take a holiday quarterly. So it doesn't have to be abroad or anything or out of the country, even just like locally, just taking a couple of days off quarterly. So those are the things that we plan for, and it needs to be budgeted for. So for me, I've already put the destinations that we want to go to, the budgets and everything, so we know what we're working towards. So it really just helps to just so that you go into the year focused, knowing what you're working towards.
The travel thing is so important. You know, I think we spend so much time working and stressing about where money is going to come from, how you're going to raise your kids, so on and so forth, but we don't take the time to actually rest. And I think in one of our other videos we do talk about the importance of recreation.
Yeah.
So if you don't actively plan it, and especially at the beginning of the year, you find you get through, it's halfway through, 3/4 through the year, and you haven't done anything, and you're now looking forward to maybe Christmas or the festive season, and you find that things are just not enough, and you're so exhausted because you haven't taken the time throughout the year to at least take short breaks whenever possible. So like Kelly said, you know, if we can travel at least once every quarter, that would be amazing. It might be a big trip, and don't overthink it. I mean, it might just be something that you do even for a day or two, just getting out of your normal comfort zone or your normal environment. Even if it's going to spend a night somewhere, just the two of you, just to enjoy each other's company. That's enough. But actively taking that time to travel and take a break from all of this madness.
Yeah. Number 7, goals, things that we are trying to achieve in this 2020. Oh, no, 2021. 2021. So, of course, we both have our individual goals, but we also have our collective goals of things that we're trying to do. For example, we're trying to eventually start renovating the house. So that's one of our goals. So we put down a breakdown to say, okay, fine, by this time of the year, we want to have this room done and yada, yada, yada. So our collective goals that we're working towards, we need to list that as well in the beginning. So just to keep it in the mind.
So number 8 is any other business, AOB. So this is the time when we obviously discuss anything else that might have come up, that we might have left out of the main agenda points or the main agenda topics, and we just cover that. So this year we kind of just said we want to make sure that we review our AGM, or at least the points from our AGM, at least once a week. I think we noticed that last year we set out to achieve all these things and we wrote them all down, but didn't open those notes until we got to the next AGM.
Yeah.
So it's important to try and make sure that you constantly read over whatever you'd have written or whatever you'd have discussed, so that you see how far you're getting as the year goes by, so that you're not getting to the end of the year and saying, oh, well, we didn't achieve any of those things, because maybe you genuinely forget what you might have discussed or written down. So if you review it weekly, it's very important. And also linked to that is then focusing on the monthly reviews, where we then sit down and say, well, how far are we with each one of these topics? Are there any challenges? Is there anything we need to adjust or change? And depending on the environment and what's going on. So it's those two aspects: reading through the AGM points weekly, and then also making sure that you have your monthly marriage reviews that will then cover all those topics.
Yeah, those are very important. Very, very important, because we find that with relationships, it's something that needs constant maintenance. So for example, for this month, part of the monthly review can be me saying something like, I didn't feel a lot of physical affection from you this month, and I'm feeling a little bit distant. And I'm feeling a little bit distant from you. So the monthly reviews just help you to tweak those little things that sometimes you might let slide during the course of a month. Because of course, life is busy, kids, work, blah, blah, blah. But it just helps you to just injecting the little bit of fire. Yeah, and that's what I was doing.
I don't know.
Frying.
Stoke the fire.
Just helps you to just keep fanning that flame throughout periods of the year. So number 9, the last point. What is that?
I can't count.
Number 9, the last and my personal favorite point is the theme for the year. So every AGM we pick a theme for the year. It can be a phrase, it can be a Bible verse, it can be, just a collection of words or random words put together that we want to focus on throughout the year, that we're going to remind each other of. For example, 2018, the period of 2019, we chose the words patience and diligence. In 2020, our theme was be strong and courageous. And then in 2021, our theme is
growth and abundance.
Exactly. That is our theme for this year. And you find that it tends to crop up a lot during the year. For example, last year with be strong and courageous. There's so many times throughout the year when we're like, remember we said 2020 we're being strong and we're being courageous, and it really, 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 I've noticed every single time that we set a theme, it becomes a recurring thing. It really manifests. So this year we are manifesting growth and abundance. So we're just going to keep reminding ourselves that we don't operate from a position of lack, but from a position of abundance. So we want an abundance of everything, an abundance of love, an abundance of joy, an abundance of compassion in everything that we do. So that's just something that we have to keep reminding ourselves throughout the year of 2021.
An abundance of cars.
What? The car radios again. You started.
Car radios.
You see, he started.
Abundance of car radios.
That's all we have for you today, everybody. I hope you guys learned something. Just a couple of tips for when you guys do your AGM. Don't do it at home, and don't do it in your bedroom. It becomes, for some reason, it doesn't work out. Usually I recommend going to like a coffee shop or a restaurant or a public place. That way you guys can stay focused on what you're trying to discuss and you stick to the agenda and you get through it. So definitely do that. And then have a celebration afterwards. I mean, have dinner or whatever it is that you're having. But try to have this in a public place, because if you do it in private, it can get challenging. So that's just a tip for you guys. Take it or leave it. It's up to you. But otherwise, thank you so much for watching, everybody. I really appreciate it. It's so good to have you guys here. Another exciting development of this year is I'm on Patreon, finally. So for those of you who want to support my channel, I'll put the link below. Please go ahead and join the membership. I'd really love to have you guys over there. And another exciting announcement.
All right. We are starting a podcast.
Yay!
It's going to be very exciting. I think that's something that we've been talking about for quite a while.
For a year. It's
and
literally been a year.
Yeah, it has, eh?
Yeah.
So we're starting our podcast, and hopefully by next week.
The first episode will be
First
live.
episode. So that's going to be quite exciting. So please check that out as soon as it's out. And yeah.
Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you in the next one. Bye.
Bye.